All right, so you're ready to boost those coding skills.
Yeah, take him to the next level.
Who isn't, right? We all want to build awesome stuff. I mean,
Absolutely.
whether it's that app idea you've been dreaming up or finally snagging that dream tech job.
Yeah.
You know what can really make a difference?
What's that?
Having rock-solid coding habits.
Oh, absolutely. Like,
I'm talking the kind that separates the casual coders
yeah.
from the coding ninjas.
It's fascinating because it's not just about raw talent, or memorizing every bit of syntax.
Right.
It's about cultivating a system, a mindset that just sets you up for success.
Exactly. And that's what this deep dive is all about today.
Right.
We're going to understand the science behind building these coding habits that stick.
Habits that stick.
We're dissecting a really insightful blog post from Algo Academy.
Cool.
Called How to Build Coding Habits That Stick.
I like it.
I was reading this thing and I was like nodding along with every single point.
Yeah.
Because they really nailed down why these habits are so crucial.
Yeah.
For coders.
At any level.
All levels. Even seasoned pros.
It's true. It's like if you're trying to learn a new language, you wouldn't expect to become fluent overnight, right?
Right. Of course not.
It takes practice.
Sure.
Consistency, immersion, and a bit of strategy. Coding is the same way.
That's such a good analogy.
Yeah.
I think we can all relate to that feeling of hitting a wall.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
When we're learning something new.
100%.
Like, remember that time you spent hours trying to debug a piece of code and you almost threw your laptop out the window?
We've all been there.
Yeah.
And that's where understanding the science behind habits comes in.
Okay.
It's not just about willpower or forcing yourself to code for hours.
Right.
It's understanding how your brain works.
Yeah.
Those mechanisms that drive your actions and then use those to your advantage.
Okay, so let's unpack this habit science.
Okay.
The post talks about this book by Charles Duhigg.
Okay.
It's called The Power of Habit.
Right.
And this concept of a habit loop.
Yeah, the habit loop is super powerful for understanding how habits form and how we can rewire them.
Interesting.
It's 3 key elements.
Right.
The cue, the routine, and the reward.
Okay.
So the cue is the trigger. It sets the habit in motion.
Okay.
It could be as simple as seeing your code editor icon.
Right.
Or that feeling of sitting down at your desk.
Yeah.
The routine is the action itself.
Okay.
So in this case, writing code.
Gotcha.
And then the reward is the positive reinforcement that solidifies the habit.
Okay.
So that could be like the satisfaction of solving a problem or writing a really clean function.
Right.
Or even just getting in that flow state.
So it's like this chain reaction in our brain.
Yeah, it is.
Cue, routine, reward.
Yeah.
But here's the thing.
What's that?
If we're struggling to build a consistent habit,
maybe it's because one of these elements is missing.
It's possible.
Or isn't strong enough.
Absolutely. Like maybe the cue isn't consistent enough.
Okay.
If you're coding in different places all the time,
right,
your brain doesn't have that trigger.
It doesn't know when to start.
Exactly. Or maybe the reward isn't compelling enough.
Okay.
So if you're working on projects you just find boring,
right,
it's going to be tougher to stick with it.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting.
Okay, I like it.
Once we understand this habit loop, we can hack it.
Totally.
We can engineer our environment, our routines, to make coding habits practically automatic.
And the post offers a bunch of strategies to do just that.
Oh, yeah.
I'm ready to start using some of these.
Me too. And what's great is they emphasize starting small.
Yeah.
It's not about suddenly coding for hours every day.
Right.
It's about finding that sweet spot.
Yeah.
That minimum viable effort
that
you can commit to and build on.
100%. It's like that saying.
We overestimate what we can do in a day and underestimate what we can do in a year.
So true.
So even if you start with 5 or 10 minutes, that can lead to serious gains.
Absolutely. It's about building that momentum.
Yes.
That positive feedback loop.
Yep.
Where each win fuels the desire to keep going.
Totally. And one strategy they suggest that I love is habit stacking.
Ooh, habit stacking. Tell me more.
So it's all about piggybacking on an existing habit.
Okay.
So let's say you have a solid morning routine.
Yeah.
You wake up, brush your teeth, make coffee.
I do.
You can stack your coding right on top of that.
Okay.
So after I make my coffee, I'll code for 15 minutes.
I see what you mean. It's like you're already doing the thing, so add one more thing to it.
Your brain's already primed for it.
It's already in motion.
And it can be any habit, not just morning stuff. Like maybe you listen to a podcast on your commute.
Yeah.
Well, after the podcast.
Yeah.
Spend 10 minutes reviewing code.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Or reading a tech blog.
Genius.
Yeah.
And we can't forget the reward system.
Oh,
I mean, we're here tonight.
Yeah. Dopamine is key.
Got to get that dopamine hit.
It's crucial for reinforcing habits.
Especially in the early stages.
Yeah, when you're putting in more effort.
So, okay, I'm picturing this.
Okay.
I'm having my morning coding session.
Yeah.
I just solved this really tricky problem.
Nice.
I feel like a total coding champion.
Sa.
What's my reward? A victory dance. A piece of chocolate.
Could be.
A quick game break.
So the ideal reward is something you actually enjoy.
Okay.
That aligns with your goals. It doesn't have to be anything crazy.
Right.
Maybe it's just checking off your coding task for the day.
Okay.
Or the feeling of progress you've made.
Yeah, sometimes the best reward is just that
Feeling of
feeling of accomplishment.
Exactly.
But hey, a little victory dance never hurt.
That's right.
Right.
Never hurt anybody.
And the post also mentions using technology to help us stay on track.
There are so many cool tools out there
designed
for this.
I am a huge fan of habit tracking apps.
Yeah, me too.
There's something so satisfying about seeing your progress.
I know, and like those streaks building up.
It's like a little game.
It is.
You're playing with yourself.
And, for those of us who get distracted easily, I found Pomodoro timers are super helpful.
Pomodoro timers, those are a lifesaver.
Yeah, they are.
It's amazing how much more focused I am.
Right.
When I know I have a dedicated work sprint.
You get that break coming.
And then a short break. It's like you're tricking your brain to stay engaged.
You got to keep it on its toes.
And then there are code editors and IDEs that streamline our workflow.
Totally.
And make coding more enjoyable.
Absolutely. Having the right tools can make all the difference.
Oh, absolutely. It's like the difference between trying to chop veggies with a butter knife versus a razor-sharp chef's knife.
I like that.
Yeah.
I got it.
And speaking of tools, we can't forget about version control platforms.
Okay.
Like GitHub and GitLab.
Right.
Okay, so let's talk about Git.
All right, let's do it.
I know we've just skimmed the surface of habit strategies, but this one feels like a game changer.
Yeah.
Especially if you're collaborating.
Yeah.
Or working in a professional environment.
It really is.
And it's not just for teams.
Yeah.
Like, using Git for personal projects can be super beneficial too.
Oh, for sure.
I've heard that a million times.
Yeah.
But I'll admit.
What's that?
I still get a little intimidated by Git.
I get it.
So walk me through it. Like,
okay.
Why is Git so essential, even for those solo projects?
Yeah. So imagine you're working on this complex feature.
Okay.
You're adding lines of code.
Yeah.
Everything's going smoothly. And then, bam.
Oh, no.
Something breaks.
Uh-oh.
Now, without Git, you're sifting through your code.
Yeah.
Trying to remember every change you made.
Oh, it's a nightmare.
Hoping to find the culprit.
I've been there staring at my code.
Yeah.
Like it's written in ancient hieroglyphics.
With Git, you can rewind time.
Whoa.
You can see every change go back to previous versions or even create separate branches to experiment without messing up your main project.
So it's like a safety net?
Yeah.
And a time machine?
All rolled into one.
That's a much better way to explain it than like the Lego analogy I usually hear.
Yeah.
It actually makes sense now.
I'm glad.
So Git is basically essential for anyone serious about coding.
Yeah, I think so.
Even if they're not working on a team.
Exactly. And the beauty of platforms like GitHub is they make collaboration so easy.
Yeah.
You can share your code, get feedback, and contribute to open source projects.
It's like social networking for coders.
It is.
But way more productive.
Way more productive.
Okay, so we've covered the science of habit formation.
Yeah.
Some general strategies. And even dove into the power of Git. But let's get even more specific.
Okay.
What are some practical coding habits that we can start building today?
So the Apple Academy post has a whole list.
Okay.
One that stands out is daily problem solving.
Okay.
They suggest tackling at least one coding challenge every day.
Okay.
Even if it's just for a few minutes.
This makes me think of those brain training apps.
Oh, yeah.
That are all the rage these days.
Yeah.
Is this like a workout?
It is.
For our coding muscles.
Absolutely. Just like any workout, consistency is key.
So if you're someone like me who gets stuck in tutorial hell, this habit could be a game changer.
It really could. Tutorials are great for learning the fundamentals. But to solidify those skills, you need to apply them.
Yeah, to real-world problems. And I've heard that platforms like Algocademy and LeetCode are fantastic resources for finding these challenges.
They are. It's like a virtual gym.
Oh, that's good.
For your coding brain.
I like that.
And if you're thinking about applying for tech jobs, getting comfortable with these platforms can give you an edge.
Really?
Yeah, because technical interviews often involve solving problems on the spot.
Oh, wow.
So the more practice you have, the better.
It's like training for a coding marathon.
It is.
But with the added bonus of maybe landing your dream job?
Maybe even landing your dream job, exactly.
Okay, so daily problem solving is a big one?
Yeah.
What other practical habits do they recommend?
So another essential habit they emphasize is documentation.
Oh, documentation.
No, I know it can feel like a chore sometimes.
Right.
But trust me, it's worth the effort.
I've definitely been guilty of neglecting it in the past.
I get it.
Especially when I'm working on personal projects.
Yeah.
It feels like I can skip it.
I understand, but think of it this way.
Okay.
Good documentation is like leaving breadcrumbs for your future self.
Oh.
6 months from now, when you revisit that project, you'll be thanking yourself.
That's a good point.
For taking the time to explain what your code does.
It's like writing a love letter.
It is.
Your future self.
Your future self, and it's not just for you.
Okay.
Good documentation is essential for collaboration if you're working with a team or contributing to an open source project.
Right.
Clear documentation can save everyone so much time.
It's like the ultimate act of coding kindness.
It is.
To yourself and others.
Exactly.
Okay. Documentation is officially on my list of habits to prioritize.
Awesome.
What else?
Well, next up is testing.
Testing.
Now, this might sound intimidating, especially if you're a beginner.
Okay.
But testing doesn't have to be complicated.
I'll admit, testing is one area where I feel a bit lost.
Okay.
It's like this whole other world within coding that I haven't explored yet.
I understand, but think of testing as a safety net.
Okay.
It helps you catch errors and bugs before they become big problems.
Yeah.
It's like a spell checker for your code, but way more powerful.
Okay, that makes sense. But where do I even start?
You can start with simple things. Like print statements to check if your variables are holding the right values. Or writing basic functions to verify that parts of your code are working right. And as you get more comfortable, you can explore different frameworks and tools. Like unit test in Python.
Unit. I've seen that.
And it can automate a lot of the process.
Okay, what exactly is a testing framework?
So think of it as a toolbox. Designed for writing and running tests. It provides a structured way to define your tests, execute them, and report the results.
Gotcha.
It's like a personal assistant for your testing process.
Okay, that's starting to click. So testing is basically essential for writing reliable code.
Yes.
And bug-free code.
Bug-free code.
And using a framework can make it a lot smoother.
Exactly. And the more you practice, the more confident you'll be in your code.
All right. Testing is officially on my radar.
I like it.
Now, I'm curious about code refactoring.
Okay.
That sounds a bit intimidating.
Yeah.
Is that something only experienced coders do?
Not at all. Refactoring is something you can start doing from day one. Think of it as spring cleaning for your code.
Right.
You know, as you grow as a coder, you'll look back at your old code and think, what was I thinking?
It's 100%. My old code makes me cringe.
Yeah. So refactoring is all about revisiting your code.
Okay.
Making it cleaner, more efficient. And more readable.
So it's not necessarily changing the function.
Right.
But more about improving the structure and readability.
Exactly. The more you practice refactoring, the better you'll be at writing clean code.
Okay. I'm starting to see how all of these habits, from problem solving to documentation, testing and refactoring, they're all interconnected.
They are.
They all contribute to being a more well-rounded coder.
Precisely, it's about building that foundation for growth and success.
I like that.
And to really solidify these habits, the post encourages us to embrace continuous learning.
Continuous learning.
Yes.
The never-ending journey of a coder.
Exactly. The tech world's always evolving.
It is.
New languages, frameworks, tools are always emerging.
That's true.
So to stay ahead of the curve, you got to keep learning.
Got to make learning part of the routine.
Part of your routine.
So are we talking about dedicating hours every day?
Nope.
To reading tech blogs?
Nope.
Watching tutorials? Taking online courses?
It doesn't have to be that intense. Even just 15, 30 minutes a day can make a huge difference.
That's doable.
It is.
So maybe you start your day reading a few articles. Or listen to a coding podcast on your commute.
Ooh, a coding podcast. I like it.
I like that too.
Yeah. The key is to find resources and methods that resonate with you. And fit into your schedule.
That makes sense.
Don't be afraid to experiment. Yeah.
Try different courses.
Uh-huh.
Explore new technologies.
Okay.
Attend meetups. Connect with other coders.
Right.
The more you immerse yourself,
Yeah.
the more inspired you'll be.
It's like they say, sharpen the saw.
Indeed.
Yeah.
But even with the best intentions,
Yeah.
building habits is tough.
It is.
Life gets in the way.
Uh-huh.
Motivation dips.
Yeah.
And sometimes those new habits
Yeah.
we're so excited about, they fizzle out.
Tell me about it.
Yeah.
I've started and abandoned more coding projects than I care to admit.
We've all been there, and the Algo Academy post actually addresses this head on.
They do.
They talk about the most common challenges.
Okay.
And more importantly, they offer advice for overcoming them.
I like it.
I think this is where the rubber meets the road.
Yeah.
It's one thing to understand the theory.
Right.
It's another to actually do it.
Put it into practice.
Yeah, and navigate those roadblocks.
Okay, so let's get down to brass tacks.
All right.
Let's talk about those challenges.
And how we can tackle them head on.
Let's do it.
All right, so where were we?
Okay.
Yes, facing those pesky challenges.
Yes.
That can derail our best intentions.
It happens.
The post breaks down a few big ones.
Okay.
Lack of motivation, time constraints, the dreaded perfectionism trap.
Right.
Where should we start?
Well, I think a lot of us struggle with motivation at some point.
Yeah.
You know that feeling you sit down to code,
but
checking your email seems way more appealing.
Oh, 100%. It's like my brain suddenly decides that organizing my sock drawer is a top priority.
Anything to avoid that blinking cursor.
Anything but code right now.
Exactly. And the post offers some great advice.
Okay.
For those moments when motivation wanes.
Yeah.
They emphasize remembering your why.
Right.
Like, why are you learning to code?
Right.
What are you hoping to achieve?
It's like you're coding North Star.
Yes, that guiding light.
Yeah, that keeps you on track.
Keeps you on track when things get tough.
And sometimes it helps to make that why more tangible.
Yeah.
Like, write down your goals, create a vision board, or even just find a quote that inspires you.
I love that.
And keep it visible.
That visual reminder can be super powerful.
I love that idea.
Yeah.
It's like creating a mental roadmap.
It is.
For your coding journey.
Your coding journey, that's a good way to put it.
And speaking of roadblocks,
okay,
let's talk about time constraints.
All right.
I think we can all relate to feeling like there just isn't enough time in the day.
Not enough time.
To fit everything in.
Yeah.
Especially coding.
Absolutely. We're all juggling so much.
We are.
Finding time for coding can feel impossible.
It does.
But the post offers some clever time hacking strategies.
Okay, lay some time management wisdom on me.
Okay, so one suggestion is to try the early bird approach.
Okay.
Even just waking up 30 minutes earlier can give you a block of uninterrupted time.
That's true. I've actually tried that, and it is surprisingly effective.
It is.
It feels like you're stealing time back from the day.
You are.
And another strategy is to utilize those often wasted lunch breaks.
Oh, yeah.
Instead of mindlessly scrolling.
Right.
Try squeezing in a 20-minute coding session.
I love it.
I'm so guilty of the lunch break scroll.
Yeah.
But from now on, I'm declaring it coding break.
Coding break. I like it.
Okay, what about those of us who fall into the perfectionism trap?
Okay.
I know I've abandoned projects in the past because I get caught up.
In trying to make everything perfect.
Yes.
Perfectionism can be a real progress killer.
It is.
The post reminds us that done is better than perfect.
So true.
It's more important to have working code than to get stuck tweaking and polishing.
So it's like the minimum viable product philosophy.
Exactly.
But for our coding habits.
I like it. And remember, every coder makes mistakes.
Oh, yeah.
It's part of the process.
It is.
So instead of striving for flawlessness, focus on making progress.
Okay.
Learning from your mistakes and gradually refining your skills.
It's like we're giving ourselves permission to be imperfect.
It is, and that can be liberating.
Which is actually very liberating.
It really is.
And speaking of giving ourselves permission, we need to talk about burnout.
Okay.
Coding can be so stimulating.
You can.
And rewarding.
It is.
But it can also be mentally taxing.
Yeah, staring at a screen for hours can definitely lead to eye strain, headaches, brain drain.
The post emphasizes self-care.
Yes.
And taking regular breaks.
Absolutely. Make sure you're getting enough sleep.
Right.
Moving your body.
Okay.
Engaging in activities that replenish your mental energy.
You can't pour from an empty cup.
That's right.
We have to prioritize well-being.
Yes.
If we want to be productive and creative.
Absolutely. And sometimes preventing burnout is as simple as switching things up.
Okay.
So if you're working on a project that's getting tedious, try exploring a new technology. Or taking on a side project that excites you.
It's like cross-training.
It is.
For your coding brain.
Exactly. And don't forget to celebrate those wins along the way.
Oh, yeah.
Every time you solve a tricky problem or learn a new concept, take a moment to acknowledge that.
It's like giving ourselves a pat on the back.
It is.
For a job well done.
A job well done.
So we've covered a lot here.
We have.
From the science of habit formation to specific coding habits, challenges.
Yes.
Even strategies for staying motivated and preventing burnout.
We did it.
I'm feeling pretty inspired to level up my coding game.
Me too. And before we wrap up,
okay,
I want to loop back to something we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
Those tech tools that can support our habit building.
Right. The post mentions a bunch of cool tools and platforms.
They do. I'm ready to hear about them.
Okay, me too. Lay it on me.
All right, so they start by highlighting coding platforms.
Okay.
Like AlgoCademy itself.
Right.
These platforms offer a structured learning path.
Yeah.
Interactive exercises, and even AI-powered assistance.
Wow.
Which can be incredibly helpful when you're starting out.
It's like having a virtual coding mentor.
It is.
Guiding you every step of the way.
Exactly. And for those of us who need an extra nudge, to stay on track, there are habit tracking apps.
Yeah.
I've used apps like Habitica and Streaks.
Yeah, me too.
And they can be really effective.
They can.
The gamification aspect makes habit building fun.
It does. It's like a challenge.
It is. And if you're someone who's easily distracted...
Oh, like me.
The post recommends Pomodoro timers.
Pomodoro timers, yes.
A lifesaver.
They are those focused work sprints.
Yes.
Followed by those short breaks.
It helps you stay on task.
Yeah.
Power through those challenges.
And of course, we can't forget.
What's that?
About our code editors and IDEs.
Of course not.
Having the right tool for the job can make all the difference.
It's like having a comfortable workspace.
It is, like for your code.
Or your code.
Yeah. And once you've got that sorted, the post recommends utilizing version control.
Okay.
Like GitHub or GitLab.
Right. Our new best friend Git.
Okay.
These platforms make it so easy to manage your code, track changes, and collaborate.
Yeah, they're essential for any serious coder.
I think so.
Whether you're working on solo projects or with a team.
Yeah, for sure.
So we've covered habit formation, general strategies, even the power of Git.
We did.
Let's get even more specific now.
Okay, I like it.
What are some actual coding habits we can start building right now?
So the AlgoCademy post has this whole list.
Okay.
But one that really jumps out is daily problem solving.
Okay. Daily problem solving.
They suggest tackling at least one coding challenge a day.
Okay.
Even if it's just for a few minutes.
So this kind of reminds me of those brain training apps.
Oh, yeah.
That are so popular now. Is this like a workout?
It is.
For our coding muscles.
Absolutely. Just like any workout.
Okay.
Consistency is key.
Right. So if you're someone like me.
Yeah.
Who tends to get stuck in tutorial hell.
Right.
This could be a game changer.
It really could. Tutorials are great.
Yeah, they are.
For getting those fundamentals down.
Yeah.
But to really solidify those skills, you got to apply them.
To real world problems.
To real world problems. Yeah.
I've heard that platforms like AlgoCademy and LeetCode.
Yes.
Are really good for finding these challenges.
They are. It's like having a virtual gym.
I like that.
For your brain.
For your coding brain.
Exactly. And, if you're thinking about tech jobs.
Oh, yeah. A lot of us are.
Getting comfortable with these platforms can give you a serious advantage.
Also.
Because a lot of technical interviews involve solving problems on the spot.
Oh, wow.
So the more practice.
The better prepared.
The better prepared you are.
So it is like training.
It is.
For a coding marathon.
Yeah.
But with the chance of landing your dream job.
Exactly.
Okay, so daily problem solving is a big one.
A big one, for sure.
What other practical habits do they recommend?
Another one they emphasize is documentation.
Documentation.
I know it can feel like a chore.
It can.
But it's worth it.
I've been guilty of neglecting it.
I get it.
Especially with personal projects.
Yeah.
It feels like something I can skip.
I understand, but think of it this way.
Okay.
Good documentation is like leaving breadcrumbs for your future self. Right. 6 months from now, when you revisit that project, you'll be thanking yourself.
That's true.
For taking the time to explain what your code does.
It's like a love letter to your future self.
To your future self, exactly. Okay. And it's not just for you.
Right.
Good documentation is essential when collaborating.
Okay, yeah.
So if you're working with a team or contributing to open source, clear documentation can save everyone so much time and frustration.
It's like the ultimate act of coding kindness.
It is.
To yourself and to others.
To yourself and others, exactly.
Okay, documentation's officially on my list of habits to prioritize.
Good. I'm glad to hear that.
What else?
Well, next up is testing.
Oh, testing.
Now, this might sound intimidating.
Yeah, a little bit.
Especially if you're newer to this.
Okay.
But testing doesn't have to be super complicated.
Okay, that's good to hear. I will admit.
What's that?
Testing is an area where I feel a little lost.
I understand it can feel like this whole other world.
It is.
Within coding.
Yeah, and I haven't explored it yet.
Well, think of testing as a safety net.
Okay. A safety net.
For your code, it helps you catch those errors and bugs before they become major problems.
I see that.
So it's like a spell checker.
Okay.
For your code, but much more powerful.
Okay, that makes sense, but where do I even begin?
So you can start with simple things.
Okay.
Like print statements.
Okay, print statements.
Just to check that your variables are holding those expected values.
All right.
Or you can write basic functions.
Got it.
Just to verify that parts of your code are working correctly.
Okay, I see.
As you get more comfortable,
yeah,
you can explore testing frameworks and tools.
Okay.
Like Unitest in Python.
Okay, Unitest. I've seen that mentioned.
It can automate a lot of the testing.
Okay. What exactly is a testing framework?
So think of it like a toolbox.
Right.
A toolbox specifically for writing and running tests.
Okay.
It gives you this structured way to define them,
Okay.
execute them, and see the results.
Gotcha.
That's like a personal assistant
Okay.
for your testing process.
I see, that makes sense.
And it makes it much less error-prone.
So testing is essential for reliable, bug-free code.
It is.
And a framework makes the whole process smoother.
Yeah, and the more you practice testing,
Yeah.
the more confident you'll be.
In your code.
In your code, exactly.
All right, testing is officially on my radar.
Awesome. I'm glad to hear that.
Now I'm curious about code refactoring. What is that? That sounds intimidating.
It can sound a bit intimidating.
Is that only for experienced coders?
Not at all.
Okay.
Refactoring is something you can start doing from day one.
Oh, really?
Think of it as spring cleaning.
Okay, spring cleaning.
Do your code.
Right, for my code.
As you grow as a coder,
yeah,
you'll look back at your old code.
I do that now.
And think, what was I thinking?
Oh, my gosh. Yes. My old code makes me cringe.
So refactoring is all about revisiting your code.
Okay.
Making it cleaner, more efficient, more readable.
So it's not about changing what the code does.
Right.
But more about making it better.
Exactly.
Like structurally and readability.
Yeah. And the more you practice refactoring, the better you get at writing clean code from the start.
Okay. I'm starting to see how all these habits are connected.
They are.
Problem solving, documentation, testing, refactoring.
It all works together.
It all makes you a more well-rounded coder.
It does. It's about building that foundation for growth and success.
I like that.
And to solidify these habits,
the
Algo Academy post really encourages us to embrace continuous learning.
Continuous learning.
It never ends.
The never-ending journey of a coder.
It's true. The tech world is constantly evolving.
It is.
New languages, new frameworks, new tools.
Always something new.
All the time. So to stay ahead of the curve,
right,
you got to keep learning.
So make it part of your routine.
Make it a part of your routine.
Are we talking about dedicating hours each day?
No.
To like reading tech blogs?
Not necessarily.
Watching tutorials?
Nope.
Taking online courses?
It doesn't have to be that intense. Even just 15 to 30 minutes a day.
Okay, that's manageable.
Can make a huge difference.
Yeah, so maybe you start your day by reading some articles.
Yeah.
Or listening to a coding podcast on your commute.
Ooh, a coding podcast. I like that.
I like that too.
So the key is to find resources that work for you and fit your schedule.
That makes sense.
And don't be afraid to experiment.
Right.
Try different courses, explore new technologies, go to meetups, connect with other coders.
That's a good idea.
The more you immerse yourself,
right,
the more inspired you'll be.
It's like the C# in the saw.
Indeed. But even with the best of intentions, building habits is tough.
It is.
Life gets in the way, motivation dips.
It happens.
And you know, sometimes those new habits we were excited about, they fizzle out.
Tell me about it.
Yeah.
I've started and abandoned.
I get it.
So many coding projects.
We've all been there.
It's more than I care to admit.
But the Algo Academy post addresses this head on.
They do.
They talk about the common challenges.
Okay.
And more importantly, they give advice on how to overcome them.
I like that a lot.
I think this is where the rubber meets the road. You know, it's one thing to understand the theory.
Right.
But actually putting it into practice.
Putting it into practice.
And navigating those roadblocks.
Yeah.
That's the real challenge.
That's the real challenge, right?
Well,
Let's get down to brass tacks.
Let's do it.
Talk about those challenges.
Okay.
And how we can tackle them head on.
All right, let's do it. All right, so we're talking challenges.
Those roadblocks.
Yeah, the things that can derail our coding habits.
Right, the Algocademy post.
Yeah.
Breaks down a few big ones.
Okay, like what?
Lack motivation. Time constraints.
Uh-huh.
The perfectionism trap.
Oh, the perfectionism trap?
Where do we even begin?
I think a lot of us struggle with motivation.
Yeah.
At some point,
At some point.
You sit down to code, but suddenly checking email seems way more appealing.
Oh, 100%. It's like my brain is like, nope, let's organize the sock drawer instead.
Yeah. Anything to avoid that blinking cursor.
Anything but coding right now.
And the post offers some good advice.
Okay, good.
For those moments when motivation just dips.
Okay.
They say it's important to remember your why.
Your why?
Like, why are you even learning to code?
Right.
What are you trying to achieve with this?
It's like finding your coding North Star.
It is that guiding purpose that keeps you going.
Yeah, it keeps you on track when things get tough.
Yeah. And sometimes it helps to make that why more tangible.
More tangible? How so?
Write it down.
Okay.
Make a vision board. Yeah. Or even find a quote that inspires you.
Yeah.
Keep it by your workspace.
I like that.
That visual reminder can be really powerful.
It can be. It's like creating a mental roadmap.
Yeah.
For your coding journey.
For your coding journey.
Speaking of roadblocks, let's talk time constraints.
Okay, let's talk time.
We can all relate to feeling like there's just not enough time.
You're not enough time.
To fit everything in.
In the day.
Especially coding.
Yeah, we're all juggling so many things.
Yeah.
And finding time to code can feel impossible.
It can feel impossible. Yeah.
But the Algocademy post offers these time-hacking strategies.
Okay, that can help.
Okay, lay some time management wisdom on me.
All right, so one thing they suggest is the early bird approach.
Okay, the early bird.
Even waking up so many minutes earlier can give you some uninterrupted time.
That's true. I've actually tried that.
Have you?
And it is surprisingly effective.
It is. It feels like you're stealing time back from the day.
You are stealing time back from the day.
And another strategy is to use those lunch breaks.
Oh, yeah, lunch breaks.
That are often wasted.
I am so guilty of scrolling during lunch.
Instead of doing that, try squeezing in like 20 minutes of coding.
I could do that.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm done with the lunch break scroll.
Okay, good.
I'm declaring it coding break from now on.
Coding break. I like it.
What about those of us who fall into the perfectionism trap?
Oh, yeah.
I have abandoned projects before. Because I get so caught up
in trying to make it perfect.
In making everything perfect.
Perfectionism can be a killer.
It can.
The post reminds us.
Done is better than perfect.
So true.
Yeah.
It's more important to have code that works.
Yes.
That you can iterate on.
Than to get stuck tweaking and polishing.
It's like that minimum viable product philosophy.
Exactly.
But for coding habits.
But for our coding habits, and remember, every coder makes mistakes.
Oh, yeah, we do.
It's all part of learning. So instead of striving for flawlessness, focus on progress.
Okay.
Learn from your mistakes.
Yeah.
And refine your skills over time.
It's like we're giving ourselves permission.
We are.
To be imperfect.
And that is liberating.
It is very liberating.
Now we need to talk about burnout.
Burnout. Oh, yeah.
Coding can be really stimulating.
It can.
Rewarding, but it can also be mentally taxing.
And especially staring at a screen for hours.
Yeah. All those hours lead to eye strain headaches.
Brain drain. Yeah.
So the post emphasizes self-care.
Self-care.
Taking breaks.
Taking breaks. Make sure you're getting enough sleep.
Right.
Moving your body.
Engaging in activities that replenish your energy.
You can't pour from an empty cup.
That's right. You got to take care of yourself.
We got to prioritize well-being.
We do.
If we want to be productive and creative.
Absolutely. And sometimes preventing burnout is as simple as switching things up.
Switching things up.
So if a project starts feeling tedious, try a new technology.
Okay.
Or a side project that excites you.
It's like cross-training.
It is.
For your coding brain.
For your coding brain. And don't forget to celebrate the small wins along the way.
Celebrate the small wins.
Every time you solve a problem, learn a new concept, make progress on a project. Take a moment to recognize that.
Like giving yourselves a little pat on the back.
It is a pat on the back.
For a job well done.
A job well done.
Okay, so we've covered a lot.
We have from habit formation. Specific habits, challenges, ways to stay motivated.
Ways to avoid burnout.
Ways to prevent burnout.
I'm feeling inspired.
Me too.
To level up my coding game.
I'm ready to level up too.
Me too.
Okay.
Before we wrap up,
right.
I want to go back to something we talked about earlier.
All right. What's that?
Those tech tools that support habit building.
Oh, yeah. Those tools.
The Algo Academy post mentions a few.
What are some of their favorites?
Okay, so they highlight coding platforms.
Oh, wait, coding platforms.
Like Algo Academy itself.
Yeah.
These platforms offer a structured path.
Okay.
Interactive exercises.
Uh-huh. And even AI-powered assistance.
Whoa! AI assistance for coding.
Which can be so helpful when you're getting started.
It's like having a virtual coding mentor.
It is a virtual mentor.
Guiding you.
Guiding you along the way.
And for those of us who need that extra little push to stay on track,
I need that sometimes.
There are habit tracking apps.
Oh, those habit tracking apps.
I've used apps like Habitica and Streaks.
Me too, and they can be really effective.
They can.
That gamification aspect.
Yeah.
Makes it fun.
It does. It's like a game.
It is a game. And if you're someone who's easily distracted,
oh, like me.
The post recommends Pomodoro timers.
Pomodoro timers, yes.
Hey!
They can be a lifesaver.
They are those focused work sprints.
Yes!
Followed by short breaks.
Help you stay on task.
They do help you stay on task.
Power through those challenges.
And of course, you can't forget about our code editors and IDEs.
First, not got to have the right tools.
Having the right tool can make a world of difference.
It's like having a comfortable workspace.
It is like having a comfortable workspace for your code.
For your code, exactly.
And once you've got that sorted.
Yeah. The post recommends those version control platforms.
Oh, yeah. Version control.
Like GitHub and GitLab.
Our new best friend, Git.
These platforms make it so easy to manage your code.
They do track changes, collaborate with others.
Essential tools for any serious coder. So to recap.
Yeah, let's recap.
We've explored the science behind building coding habits.
Oh, we did.
We dove into specific habits we can start using today.
And how to overcome challenges.
Right. And how to stay motivated to avoid burnout.
And discovered some awesome tech tools.
We did.
To help us along the way.
I'm walking away with a ton of actionable strategies.
Me too. I'm feeling motivated.
Me too. I'm ready to level up.
Before we sign off, I want to leave our listeners with a challenge.
Okay, a challenge? I like it.
What one small coding habit will you commit to this week?
That's a good question. It doesn't have to be anything huge.
Nope, start small.
Maybe it's solving one coding problem every day.
Yeah.
Or spending 15 minutes practicing with Git.
Or setting up your development environment.
Oh, yeah, for that project you've been putting off.
Whatever it is.
Yeah.
Write it down.
Be good visible.
Tell someone about it.
Oh, tell someone.
That accountability can really help.
And if you're feeling brave.
Yeah.
Share your chosen habit on social media.
I love it.
Tag us. We want to hear what you're working on.
I do, and we'll cheer you on.
Remember, you don't have to do this alone.
That's right.
There's a whole community of coders out there.
There is.
Both online and offline.
Yeah, so go out there.
Build those habits.
Connect with others.
And happy coding.
Happy coding, everyone.